Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. I got videos today from Alexander Grace.
This is a public service announcement for white men. It is okay to approach a Latina at the bar.
That part. Yep.
It is okay to like a Latina. We are...
Does she got a big booty? Because I only approach the big booty ones.
equals. We are pretty people. We are also equal to the blondes at the bar.
Even better.
Even better, maybe.
Is this like an inferiority complex? She thinks she's inferior to white women or something? Like, I'm also confused by why the hell this clip even exists.
Maybe.
We'll talk to you.
We will talk to you. It is okay. I promise. It is okay. Please approach us. We are all one. We are begging.
We're begging.
We're on our hands and knees. Please approach us.
I'm on my knees.
Like, what the
They want some white zaddies.
I am always fascinated when women talk about race in the context of dating. These two Latina women begging white men to come and talk to them, that's actually pretty consistent with the data. Apart from black women who are very loyal to black men, all other women have a preference for white guys. So
True. I can see this. White guys do have the advantage when it comes to all other race preference. Like, they are up there.
it's kind of strange hearing them say we're just as good as white women, we're just as good as blonde women. Like,
Yeah,
kind of
that part confused me. That's why I was like, is there like inferiority complex with this?
men off, insinuating that men are a little bit racist. But I've always found this data interesting. It's a little bit out of date.
Oh, yeah, it does inferior. I didn't even think about it that way. That's like, oh, yeah, they think we're racist. Oh, shit.
It's from 2014. But it actually shows that white men have a stronger preference for Latina women than they do for white women. It's 6% versus 5%. It's
Okay.
not much. But the insinuation
I mean, everybody likes big booty Latinas, is what you're kind of saying, Alex. I got it.
from these women that men with their, bigotry and their racism, they're not approaching Latina women. It just doesn't bear out with the facts. And it's interesting that their own racism when it comes to dating never really gets scrutinized because women have this reputation as being like the progressive ones, the open-minded ones. We don't tend to actually analyze what their true behavior is when it comes to their dating choice and what that reveals. But if you look at the facts, you look at the statistics, you see quickly that women are not nearly as open-minded as they would have you believe. Like, if I was to ask you, who do you think is more comfortable with interracial marriage? Is it sort of women with their progressive values, or is it men with their bigoted, socially conservative, uptight values? Obviously, it's going to be difficult to get data on this because by the nature and definition of an interracial marriage, it's going to be one man and one woman. But as you look at homosexual relationships and homosexual marriages, two women marrying each other and two men, which one of those do you think is going to have more interracial dynamics? The answer is men. The figures come out.
This is true. I see a lot of white men with Asians, and I see a lot of Hispanic men with black men. So I do see a very mixed group. I live in LA, California, Southern California, guys. There's a huge gay population here. So I see it pretty often.
To 37% compared to just 25%. But you wouldn't expect that from the discourse, right? Like, that's not the vibe. Men are always cast as the reactionary ones who are closed-minded, very bigoted, not like the, progressive, socially accepting women. There's just this pervasive mythology throughout our culture and our society that says that women are the tolerant ones. They're the ones that are accepting of everybody, who don't care about the superficial characteristics like race. And there are many women who, on that very basis, believe that women are the rightful holders of social and institutional power because of how progressive they are.
I think in a perfect world, women would be in charge of everything. And if you look at countries that are happier and better off, women are more in charge. Because women have been taught to be more empathetic, a lot of women are just better at handling political and social problems. If you look at countries that are doing better, women are in charge of a lot of the government.
You might wonder where women manage to secure this reputation, you know, for being so progressive and open-minded. Like, is there any data
Men gave it to them?
backing this up? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Take racism, for example. They have found that men have higher rates of racial prejudice than women. There have been multiple studies that have found this, but what's interesting is that all of those studies are on the basis of self-reported data. But when they have done research on implicit bias, you know, what you actually believe as opposed to what you say you believe, they actually find that women have a higher implicit prejudice than men do. Which of course begs the question, are men actually more racially prejudiced and closed-minded than women? Or are we just more self-aware and honest? And women are actually the ones by their behavior who really struggle with this stuff. Even though
Oh, shocker. Don't listen to what women say. Look at what women do.
they tell you something very different. The image is good, you know, the branding is definitely on point, but is there actually any substance behind this? That's what I'm going to focus on in this video, because race is just one topic. I'm going to show you a bunch of areas that demonstrate that women are not as socially progressive in their behavior as they would like you to believe.
Well, I mean, remember, they still want the social norms of men. Even though they say they want to be progressive and men to be progressive, they don't want men to be at home taking care of the kids, which would be a progressive stance. They still want to be taken care of.
That men, by their behavior, are actually pretty progressive. We tend to accept people as they are. Or is it women who are truly the progressive, open-minded ones? Let's take a look.
A guy wants to date a chick who dresses or modestly.
He wants her to dress till she's his girlfriend.
Exactly. Because they want you to be desirable until you're theirs, and they don't want you to be desirable, which makes no sense.
She's dressing for herself.
So not for guys to hit on her?
For any reason she chooses.
But
How she
Women are
dresses,
not objects.
because
I'm done with this interview. Goodbye.
There are so many clips on the internet of women in these kinds of interviews just like getting angry and like walking off like I'm done with this. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to discuss these ideas, which is funny, right? Because when you think of somebody who has a reputation for being open-minded, it means that you can talk to them about anything, right? Let's chat about ideas. Let's explore and discuss different viewpoints. We don't want to be closed-minded and just...
No, women shut down conversations all the time when it doesn't go their way. And then you know how they shut it down? With tears.
Like shut down conversations. We're not about just enforcing conformity and dogma. No, we're flowing, we're open. We want to explore all different perspectives. But if women are the open-minded ones, then why does the data consistently show that women are brutally intolerant of viewpoints that differ from their own? I mean, look at this data. Absolutely remarkable. This is one of the biggest discrepancies in gender dynamics I've ever seen. Men are 3.5 times more tolerant of opposing views than women. And yet, the perspective that women seem to have of men is that men are intolerant and closed-minded and closed off. Men don't have empathy. Men can't understand other people's perspectives. They don't want to hear other points of view. Men are just so dogmatic and closed off. We hear this all the time. So strange that men are the ones that have the reputation for lacking empathy.
Men will not do a fucking thing for you because they do not feel empathy. In the male brain, they are thinking, who is this girl to me, right? And that's the difference between men and women. Women are not always looking at men like, who can he be for me? Which then, in women, creates empathy, sympathy, and all
the projection.
These other kinds of feelings that men don't necessarily have towards women.
What do I always say on this channel? A woman's complaint is her confession. This is just pure projection. And I think that there might be some genuine confusion about what the word empathy actually means. Because I think the ability to simulate another person's perspective, their experience, their point of view, to understand where they're coming from and to tolerate differences of opinion, to me, those are good markers of empathy. And that's
being able to put yourself in other people's shoes and experiences. That's pretty damn good thing.
Probably how I would define it, to use your imagination to inhabit their world, to feel what it would be like to be them. But I think when women are using the word empathy, they're using it completely differently. I think for them, it refers to a kind of like porousness, a lack of a clear boundary between yourself and other, where you're in an interaction with another person and it just brings on this intense cocktail of emotions. I think that's what they think empathy is. But is that truly having empathy for another person, or is that just being highly affected emotionally by the behavior of other people around?
Oh, I see.
Everybody who works for me
So like the emotional reaction that we don't have is them saying that we lack empathy. Is that what we're talking about?
now are men. I've noticed if I hire someone and they're female, I have to be careful about how I talk to them, even giving criticism. And maybe it's me, but I feel like I have to be a little bit nicer, a little bit more gentler. Whereas with a dude, I can be like, can you just not do this again? And they're like, yeah, no problem, won't do it again. But if it's female, I'm like, okay, you did like this a little bit wrong. Here's how to do it a little bit better. Overall, you're doing a great job. Everything's fine. Please don't be upset.
You have to wonder, right, if women are more empathetic and they like other women more because they think other women are more empathetic, then why is it that more women prefer to have a male boss than a female boss? Why is it that women's gendered preference for who their boss is stronger than men's gendered preference? Is there another side to this that we're not being told?
Working for a female boss sucks, especially if you're a girl. Everyone always talks about the patriarchy keeping them down. Smash the patriarchy. The patriarchy is the only thing that has ever promoted me. Ask any girl when you're just having a casual conversation and she's not being a feminist if she would rather work for a male or a female. And she will tell you. And why? Because women are jealous. Women are moody. Women are insecure. And for some reason, they take all of that out on the women working for them. Because women are mean to each other. We are our own worst enemies. And maybe, just maybe, it's because women aren't meant to spend their childbearing years in a corporate workplace. But we're not allowed to say that.
Absolutely. You keep quiet. Can't talk about that. It's so fascinating to me and so ironic that the demographic that most strongly champions female leadership is also the exact same demographic most likely to reject it. You would think that they would fiercely resist men being in charge. That's toxic. That's patriarchy. We're trying to move away from those kinds of hierarchies. And yet when there is a hierarchy...
But when it comes to our relationships, down with the patriarchy.
In the workplace, women want men to be on top. That's so interesting because men don't seem to have that strong of a preference when it comes to gender. And yet men are always accused of being the ones who are thinking in terms of hierarchy. Like, oh, why are men so obsessed with the pecking order? Why can't we all just be equal? Why can't things be egalitarian? I really don't know how women can make that complaint with a straight face, given everything that we know about hypergamy. When you look at the research on sympathy for lower income people and all the self-reported data, women come out looking great. They're very empathetic and...
Are they? No brokies.
And show a lot of compassion for lower income groups, and they're very critical of wealth and inequality. But then if you look at their behavior, it tells a very different story. When it comes to your actual dating life and the important question of, are you willing to date across class lines? Are you willing to build a life with somebody from a lower income background than you? The answer from women is an overwhelming and resounding no. When young women first get married before they have children, the data clearly shows that women are interested in men who make more money than they do, which just goes to show that it's extremely easy to say that you don't care about money and you have a lot of compassion for poor people when in the back of your mind, you know that you're going to marry somebody rich. They found that even for women who have the same or higher levels of education than their husband, they still want a rich guy.
I want my husband to earn like quite a substantial amount more than I do.
If he earned, I don't know, 50, 60,000 pounds a year.
That's not a lot.
That's not enough for you?
No.
Well, what plan did you got?
60,000 pounds a year?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
What's that wage like monthly? It's not, that's like £4,000 a month.
4, 5.
Who lives on that? No, that's not enough.
You can live off £4,000 a month.
I personally, me alone, but that's just not just me alone.
What kind of things are you doing in your spare time?
But if I'm going to settle with a man, he needs to have a decently great wage.
What, because you're trying to spend it?
No, because I want to be provided for if I need it.
Yeah, but what if he can provide for you within your means? You're trying to live beyond your means.
Within my means. No, not beyond my means. I want to have a nice life.
Okay, I know that this is probably not a particularly serious topic, but to me, it just stacks further on top of the huge pile of bullshit that we've been
It's a
taught
lot of it.
in our life. It's just another one of those myths about men and women that's just completely false, where the truth turns out to be the exact opposite of what we've been told. Men are discriminatory and men are closed-minded. Women, on the other hand, are open and accepting. They're full of empathy and tolerance for people who are different to them. Well, yeah, if you go by their statements about themselves, that's true. But if you look at their actions, their behavior, it paints a very different picture. So why are they constantly shitting on men when this is their track record? You know, isn't there the parable about casting stones when you're in a glass house? It doesn't make any sense unless you consider it from the psychological concept of projection. You know, women are probably feeling deep down a bit guilty about how prejudiced they actually are on all of this stuff, but they can't stomach, you know, this self-image of themselves as somebody who could be that closed-minded and bigoted, and so they project it all out onto men. They accuse men of being what they actually are. That guilt about their cognitive dissonance, that would explain the ferocity with which men get attacked. You know, they're so angry at men because they're actually that angry at themselves. That's what that guilt is doing. And the point here isn't to say that men are superior to women because of how open-minded men are. Too much openness can be a disaster. I mean, maybe we shouldn't judge as much as we do, but we should definitely be discerning. And the point here is also not to paint women as though they are bigots. You know, actually, there are very legitimate reasons, you know, a lot of them grounded in evolutionary theory, why women would be more reluctant, why they would be more prejudiced and closed-minded. It has to do with safety and protection. There are social reasons and psychological reasons, and I go through all of them in part 2 of this video. But if there is a point to this video so far, I guess it would just be that women are once again lacking in self-awareness about their own true nature and blaming men. And just because that's the message that you have been told, that you lack empathy and you're closed-minded because that's what feminism tells you because you're a man, don't believe it. You know yourself, so trust that. Do you judge people as part of a group, or do you look at the individual? Do you give people a chance? Are you open-minded to hearing their perspective? You've been told that, you know, men everywhere are just less tolerant than women are. Don't believe it. All right, let's...
No, I actually grew up thinking the exact same thing that he was talking about, right? I always thought women were more empathetic. I always thought these things, but then as I grew up and just experienced life, I've always felt more empathetic than them. I can literally put myself in a lot of these people's shoes and just be like, fuck, that sucks. How can I help or in some way, you know, do something? Where women, they can never put themselves in men's shoes, ever. Just look at the whole paternity fraud thing. They can never even understand why men even want that as a thing. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time.